Alright, so the new trailer for Metal Gear Delta, which everybody knows is literally Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. One of my all-time favorite Metal Gear games. The trailer dropped just about an hour ago. This is my reaction to the trailer as I'm watching it. I'm not going to pause it. I'm going to let the trailer go. I'm actually broadcasting it off of my TV just because of the fact that I don't want to get like a copyright strike because I'm doing an actual review. So this is going to be my thoughts afterwards, and we'll go from there. So here we go. As you can see, I literally have 6 seconds in because it just hit the Konami thing. So here we go.
Altitude 30,000 feet.
Okay, they kept the original audio.
Listen up, Jack.
That's a good sign.
Your mission is to infiltrate Selino Yask in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the west.
Looks great so
Your
far.
code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. The clock is ticking. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. Just leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's specialty. In other
Very
words,
nice.
Weapons and equipment to procure on site. That goes for food as well.
That grass looks good
Completely
too.
naked, just as your name implies.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment. Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
The mission rests entirely in your hands.
Alright, the important part. Did they get this right?
Army.
And they did. That beginning of that game is so important. Very nice. Very nice.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Okay. So we're going to put this on the big screen. There's no date so far on when it's going to be dropping. But it is PS5, Xbox Series X and S, which I have S, and Steam. Alright, so my thoughts just briefly on what I think of what I'm seeing so far. It looks like they've kept everything that has and is Metal Gear Snake Eater. It looks like they've kept everything true to the original game. Love that. Fantastic. The question becomes, is the combat going to be fluid? Because there were some issues, not going to lie. There were some issues with the third game in terms of combat-wise. But they're little quirks. You get used to them after a little while, after you played it a billion times like I have. You get used to it and you go, okay, not that big of a deal. So that is question number one that I'm going to have. Question number two, are they going to change the story like they did with the Twin Snakes? Which, if they do, that's going to make this game probably get hurt in terms of sales, because when people play it, they know they've changed the story in some way. If they've done something to the story that isn't what the original game is, people are going to have a problem with that, and a lot of people are going to be like, nope, staying away, because they did that with the Twin Snakes, which, honestly, I didn't think Twin Snakes was that bad. I understand a lot of people didn't like it because of the story changes and whatnot, but it is what it is. Why is this game my favorite Metal Gear? It breaks it down to very simple, okay? I love this game because of the environment. Being able to sneak around in a jungle setting with the grass and being able to get mud on you and walking around That was the coolest thing, because no game in the history of video games had ever done that before. Now we have games like Far Cry that you can sneak around a little bit in the jungle and the brush and whatnot, and even some of the later Metal Gear games did that. But this game set the tone for what most games of stealth and action have been. Even some of the modern MMOs that are out there right now, that are stealth type of MMOs, they can call it back to Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater as the game that changed everything. 2 is a great game, don't get me wrong. Metal Gear Solid 2, great game. I personally didn't like Raiden, in the storyline. I could have done it without him, being 100% honest. Metal Gear Solid 1, phenomenal game. Loved it. Loved it on the original PlayStation. Still one of the games I gravitate to and play every once in a while, even though it can get a little repetitive. But this game here, this game was the game. This is the cream of the crop. Metal Gear Solid 4, another good entry, not a great one. I honestly thought the combat was a little clunky, but again, you have to get used to it. It takes a little while. It becomes a greater game later on in the story and in the overall game. But this game, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, is probably the best game in the series, and I'm glad that Konami is actually doing the game justice. They're going to remake it in the same style that they did with Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2, not so much Resident Evil 3. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of RE3 remake. Even though I have it, it's not my favorite game in the series. I thought it was way too short. But I'm glad to see that they are at least acknowledging the past games and making it into something more modern, so people can actually, that never played those games, that don't have the old systems like I have almost all of my original systems, at least they can play those games and have fun with those games. And to me, that is beautiful. Because there are a lot of people that never played any of the Metal Gear games because they didn't come out on modern systems. And that to me kind of sucks, because they've never tried them because they're afraid to, because they have no idea that these games even existed. So I'm happy about that. But again, I do have concerns. I will be getting it for PS5 because I absolutely love the Metal Gear Solid franchise. And I will be getting Metal Gear Collection Volume 2 when it comes out, which apparently is going to be coming later on this year. Again, no date so far on when Snake Eater drops, but I will get a copy of it because it's just a freaking awesome game. It looks great. Looks like I said, they stayed to the original story, so I'm happy about that. And it looks like they used all the original audio, which is another plus for me, because the conversations for each and every person, that made Metal Gear what Metal Gear was and is, and especially with Snake Eater. That jump out of the back of the plane in that very beginning that I said is very important that they get this right. It is very important because that starts the actual game. You get into the mindset of the character as he's jumping out of the plane. You're like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go, baby. This is gonna be awesome. And you get that feeling when he jumps out of the plane and you get on the ground. It starts the progression of that character so well. And then you find out later on who this character is. And your world just expands. And Kojima did an amazing job telling the story of this certain character. I'm not going to spoil it for those who've never played Metal Gear Solid 3, but if you got a PS2, go get Metal Gear Solid 3. It's like $100 now. It's totally worth the money. I recommend getting the second variation of it, which is the Substance package, which you get like all the original DLC and stuff. I recommend that. But if you can't get a PS2 and you got a modern system, pick up the Konami collection just for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. It's totally worth the money. because I think it's like $20 now. Go get it, play it. Phenomenal game. Chef's kiss, okay? Mwah. All right? I'm just saying. But again, I'm happy that they're doing another Metal Gear Solid 3, and it looks phenomenal. So far, 5 stars. We'll see how the gameplay is. And that is the big point. So, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my take on the trailer.